Tonight on Tortured Bourbon, we review 3 whiskeys that the experts swear will fool you into thinking you're drinking Buffalo Trace.
Do you think you can fool me?
Heather, men have been fooling you for years.
Last time I ever cooked for you.
Point proven.
B!
What's up, Heather?
What's up, B? And for the record, you love my cooking.
True. I've now tricked her into cooking more just to prove me wrong.
Will never happen again.
We'll see.
Can we move on to bourbon now? Please tell the viewers what's on tap tonight.
Well, first, shouldn't we welcome them to our family?
Do whatever you want. It's fine.
Wow. Welcome to Tortured Bourbon. If you're new here, this show is about sarcasm, rock music, tomfoolery,
and our quest to figure out bourbon in this very tortured state.
Okay, that too. Plus, it's cheaper than therapy.
That's very fair. If this is your first time stumbling upon us, make sure you click the like and subscribe button. We don't have any sponsors, so the best way you can support us is to subscribe and share.
Yes, we're on a goal to reach 200 subscribers, and if you want to understand that, click the link right here and watch us have New Year's resolutions. The more subscribers we have, the easier it is to convince my wife we need to invest in more bourbon.
That is a cause we can all get behind. So, B, what is on our bourbon menu tonight?
Well, setting the stage, a while back, we kicked off our Buffalo Trace journey.
Yeah, bottom shelf Buffalo Trace.
Links right here.
You made me want to vomit. There was plastic and twist tops and solo cups and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Watch that episode if you really like to watch people suffer. Because I was
great.
suffering.
Yeah.
I suffered for you.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, it got us talking about the allocation game and how Buffalo Trace plays it. And that's
they play
another
it well.
episode. Yep.
It really is genius. So people chase Eagle Rare and Stag, but they end up buying Wheatley vodka and Fireball instead. And it's mind control. It's like they're the puppeteers.
So Sazerac, Buffalo Trace's parent company, they own over 300 labels. And they make sure their cheaper stuff moves while people like you and I chase the unicorns.
But some gems do exist on the affordable end in the Sazerac lineup.
Yeah. And
tonight, that's exactly what we're going to explore. 3 benchmark expressions, bottled and bond, foolproof, and single barrel, which all come in at $25 or under.
Yeah.
But before we dive in, we're going to do a little history with Heather. It's been a
boy.
while since we did that. I know you're excited. Buckle up. Do you ever wonder where this Buffalo Trace madness started?
Let me guess. France.
Bingo! Like all good things, this starts in French wine country. Everything great starts there. So way back in the 1630s, right before B was born, the Sazerac family started a vineyard in the Cognac region of France. So Bernard Sazerac, he also ran a foundry that worked with our very own Benjamin Franklin to supply cannons for the American Revolution. A worthy cause.
It's a good thing we won.
It is a good thing we won. We probably wouldn't be saying all this right now. That connection actually helped Bernard ship Sazerac cognac to the U.S. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's a tale as old as time.
Let me guess. It lands in the port of New Orleans.
How did you know? That is exactly where it landed. There was an apothecary there, which, again, we're kind of weaving all these invisible strings together, as the poet Taylor said.
Oh, Jesus.
All these things connect. Apothecary.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Different song,
Oh, okay,
but
whatever.
good try.
I'll try.
The apothecary was named Péchaud. He mixed Sazerac cognac with his bitters and created the infamous Sazerac cocktail. It was a huge hit at the Sazerac house in the French Quarter in New Orleans.
Yes, and that's actually was the sole distributor of the Sazerac family's cognac and brandy.
In the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S. But like every New Orleans story, it changed hands time and time again. And due to some agricultural issues in France, they had to stop using the cognac and they had to switch to good old rye, which created America, which created our cocktail legacy we know today.
All right, so fast forward to a dark time in alcohol prohibition, and Sazerac made a pretty wise business decision. And they started snapping up all kinds of different brands, including one of the very first vodkas in the U.S.
Yeah, but their big year, as far as we're concerned, is 1989. They acquire brands from then the defunct Seagram's. And in fact, if you look at a lot of the major players in the bourbon industry now, there's that moment in time when Seagram's becomes defunct and these other organizations snap it up.
Yeah.
And they, including several other non-bourbon brands, they acquire the rights for Benchmark, and they get the rights for Eagle Rare. 3 years later, they buy the then George T. Stagg Distillery. We've heard that.
Yeah. So then flash forward 10 years
Yep.
in 1999, and after some renovations, it became Buffalo Trace that we know and love today. Then the bourbon boom hit, and the allocation frenzy began. Here we are looking for budget-friendly alternatives to the allocated stuff.
First up, we have Benchmark Single Barrel. So for those of you who are new to the game, single barrel means that all the juice that comes in this bottle came from one barrel, one specific barrel. Normally they take barrels, they blend them,
Right.
they get the product they want. This all comes from one barrel. This is at 95 proof, and it comes in at $19.99.
Which is a steal. It's won several medals, and they tell us that we are supposed to get some toasted oak and baking spices in the aroma, and then we're supposed to taste some caramel and some citrus undertones on the palate.
Men's Journal says that this is the best steel out there. And they specifically relate it to your bourbon hunting for Blanton's, which is a single barrel. We're not saying it is Blanton's, but same juice, same distillery, same rickhouse. But it's affordable. What do you, if you go on the secondary market, what are you paying for a bottle of Blanton's? Not gold, but just regular Blanton's.
$150 to $200?
Yeah, you're going to pay anywhere around $100 or up.
Up.
That's if you can find it.
Right.
This, how long did it take you to find this?
About 1 second.
That's right.
So let's see though. Let's see if it lives up to what.
Toasted oak, baking spice on the nose is what we're supposed to get.
I definitely get the baking spice.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, yeah.
They hit that.
I don't get a whole lot of oak, but I definitely get the baking spice.
I get some toast.
Okay. I can
I get
smell
some
a little
toast.
caramel.
Yep.
All right, let's see how this bad boy tastes. When I switched on the citrus overtones from thinking about tasting the actual fruit to more the rind, that's where I then finally got what they were talking about. So I do get a little bit of that.
That's incredibly smooth.
It's very smooth, very smooth. I get more caramel on the nose than I do in the palate.
Agreed. I get a little sweetness on the front.
That citrus really does come throughout.
Yep. And I do get the oak at the end.
I get oak at the end.
Baking spice on the back top of my palate. And I will say this, at $19.99, you set it out
It's
at
a
a
steal.
party.
It's a steal. And nobody's going to dislike it.
In a recent episode, we tried Jefferson's Reserve. It's as pleasant as Jefferson's Reserve.
And a little less than half the price.
A little less, yeah. It's there. It's good juice. What would you rate it?
Dog will hunt.
Now, be careful. You've rated it higher than that before.
Well, I am allowed to change my mind.
Blind, you've rated it hush your mouth before. So tell me why. It has a nice sweetness.
It does have a nice sweetness. I've evolved slightly.
From 2 weeks ago?
3.
Oh, excuse me.
3 weeks. A lot can change in 3 weeks. The complexity is not quite there for me to make it a hush your mouth. It's a high that dog will hunt, and it's for the price and factoring all of that in. It's a steal. Go grab it. But I think I'm gonna put it today for my palate today. It is that dog will hunt.
So if we had a ranker that says you should go buy this,
Oh,
click.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, check.
If you need a bottle for a party,
Check. Big check.
can do anything you want it to do.
Big check.
There's so much good bourbon out there for less than $35
There
a bottle.
really is, and especially if you go 50 or under.
Oh, the world's your oyster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the best bang for your buck
That we've had.
in the ABC store
That we've had.
that we have tried. Yes,
You know,
agreed.
I think when you take that and Evan Williams bottle and bond and you put them next to one another,
Oh,
you're
yeah. You're set.
You're really having a good time.
Yeah, you are, and for not very much money.
Why do we spend all this then?
I don't know. See, we say this, and then we see a unicorn out there, and we get it immediately. What is wrong with us? What do we got next, B?
We have something that we have drank before.
And we really like.
Yeah.
Or we did. I don't know. Maybe today, Heather's palate today might be
That's
different.
right.
I don't know.
She keeps evolving, y'all. She's She's Whitman. She contains multitudes.
I
Okay.
do contain multitudes.
So here we have the bottle and bond. Now, if you're interested in our bottle and bond act, we only did a whole series on this.
Many episodes.
Where you can go look at where we did 16 bottled and bonds head to head based on price point, based on availability, took it hard to them, came out with a winner, and if you want to know who won, click right there. That's called...
It's worth it.
That's bait. So tell us what we're getting out of this bad boy.
All right, so it comes in around $25. Obviously, it meets the Bottled and Bond Act's requirements. And Buffalo Trace tells us that it has notes of citrus and honey with flavors of light oak, caramel, and vanilla. So let's see if it tastes like that.
We'll see.
So right off the bat, that's
Much
a different
nuttier.
smell. Yes, I was just about to say it's
Much
very different.
nuttier.
It's much nuttier, 100%. In fact, you get a lot of nut there.
Nice legs.
Nice legs.
It smells completely
It's
different.
so much nuttier in
Yes.
smell.
Peanut.
Absolutely, like straight peanut. I don't get as much of.
The vanilla.
I get a little oak, but I don't get the vanilla.
I don't
they
get the
said.
vanilla.
Yeah, I get the oak. So right off the bat, that has a little more complexity than the first one we tried. For me,
Agreed.
the nut taste carries through from the
Yes.
smell.
And that's probably the light oak.
Probably, yeah.
I mean,
I don't really care what it is. It has a peanut taste
a
for
peanut
us.
light oak. Sure.
Sure, same.
Let's roll with that.
We'll go with it, B.
This is planters.
This is our show.
This is planters.
This is planters.
Without the salt.
This is Jif. So they say caramel and vanilla. I get less of that in this expression than I did in the first one.
First one's sweeter.
Absolutely.
It's a little oakier.
This one has more of what we describe as complexity. You're getting different flavor notes, not just
Yeah.
that sweetness.
And the caramel's there.
It's there, but it's mixed in with other
Yes.
flavors.
It's there.
I get more of the vanilla on the finish.
Yes, and it drinks a little, and I understand they're close in proof. But it drinks a little
It drinks higher.
higher.
You're right.
So the oak and the higher proof
I
drink.
love the finish. Taste that finish. It's like a peanut with
Oh,
like
yeah.
a little vanilla extract.
Yeah, with a little heat, with a little rye.
a little
in there.
bit, yeah.
So at $24.99,
Buy it now.
okay, we don't on the world,
Buy several.
but it's not going anywhere.
You never know. Maybe after this episode goes viral, there's gonna be a run on Benchmark Bottled
I
and Bond.
can't wait for this to go viral. We have rated things hush your mouth that taste like this.
We have.
But this is where reality sets in, and we're capitalists, and we're slaves to the grind, and I dress my son in vineyard vines. So
We know because now my son
That's
wears
right.
the vineyard vines that his son used to wear.
So the reality is, I'm not gonna run to the party and be like, "You've got the Heaven Hill. I'm gonna knock your socks off." But the reality is, I mean, if you put the Heaven Hill 7 year,
It's good.
it's gonna. I don't.
Yeah, dude.
With our palates, I don't know that we can blind taste them apart.
No. Heck no.
So is it a hush your mouth? I don't know. We can put that up on the screen. I'll be okay with it.
think it depends
Is it a
on
doggle hunt?
what you're factoring in.
Sure. But what I mean, what do
Are you
want to get out
factoring
of
in
it?
the availability and price point?
Availability
yes.
and price point, and it's a great
You gotta
dog.
bump it up.
Well, I don't know. To me,
Well, that's fair. Well, and we
because does hush your mouth give it some prestige based on your
that's fair.
availability? Because
That's
this is
fair.
bourbon.
That's fair. And I also think that we have begun. Used to we hush your mouth anything that we're like, oh, this is good. It is good. Now I think we've had enough bourbon that we factor in a little. Does it have some kind of uniqueness to it?
Yeah.
Was there something that went into the
You're
distillation?
not getting this in another bottle.
Exactly. Whereas this is mass produced, and that's fine. And
Oh, I'm glad it is.
but
The great apocalypse. I'm not finding it.
the Bee and Heather of yesteryear rated it hush your mouth.
Yeah.
I think the Bee and Heather of today rated that dog will hunt.
Fair. Agreed.
Was that in the cognac
In the
region
new
of
year,
France?
I challenge you
Uh-huh.
to find something else to make fun of me about, other than the fact my parents copulated before your parents copulated. Neither one of us had anything to do with it.
No, we didn't. Well, then you can't make fun of me for being a millennial anymore.
Is my music better or is your
You didn't make any of the music.
Is the music from my years better than the music from your years? Don't lie.
Was that popular music of that time better than the popular music of me at the same age? Yes.
Hell yes.
And do I go with you to every concert?
You beg.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
You beg. You want to be there. You want me to give you that experience.
I want Eddie Vedder to give me that experience, not you.
We've had to have a moment, but we're back. Next, we have Benchmark Full Proof. This comes in at 125 proof. So if you see full proof, if you see barrel strength, if you see cask strength, what that means is they're bottling it at the proof it comes out of the cask after aging. They're not watering it down.
Right.
They're filtering it somewhat because nobody wants to be drinking char in their bourbon.
No. You gotta filter it.
You gotta filter it.
Just like B. You gotta filter it a little bit.
So it enters the bottle, and some people say that this is the best way to taste the true expression. Now, the great thing about something when it comes in at 125 proof, 130 proof, you add a drop of water to it to open it up. You're not dulling it down that much.
No. And in fact, this is one where we don't typically add water. That's not a judgment.
No.
But if we did, this would be where we would.
Sure. They're generally a little darker.
They are generally a little darker.
And this one is a little darker
than the other two, exactly. And Buffalo Trace says that we should taste deep brown sugar and chocolate aromas. Well, we should smell that. It smells completely different than the other two.
They are all very different. And they're using if our understanding, because they're not very transparent.
Correct.
Bardstown would have it on the label.
They would. So we're supposed to smell the brown sugar and chocolate.
So I get dark chocolate.
A little bit, yeah.
And I'm not a huge...
You're not.
I'm not a huge dark chocolate
I'm going to convert you, though.
guy.
It's fine.
It's not happening.
I'm totally going to convert you. So then we're supposed to taste...
The deep brown sugar I get. Which is molasses. Deep brown sugar is molasses. It's just molasses,
absolutely. So I do totally get that. I get a little less of the chocolate here. We're supposed to taste some bold caramel, not subtle caramel.
Which is burnt caramel, right?
Yes.
So burnt caramel.
We tend to equate that with the topping on creme brulee.
I mean,
or that sweet, sugary taste that's almost burnt, but not.
It amazes me we talk about caramel in this amazing sense. It's heated sugar.
It is just heated
It's
sugar.
Heated sugar at different levels.
It's the equivalent of browned butter, which means you just cook it till it's brown. Absolutely on the caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Like so caramel forward.
That doesn't drink at 125 proof. No.
In fact,
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it doesn't have...
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
The heat on the back end of that is almost equivalent to the bottled in bond expression.
Yes. It's not as
That's
oaky.
good.
It's not as oaky.
No.
There's no peanut. I don't get the peanut.
There's no nut in there. There's no nuttiness on the aroma or on the flavor.
So if light oak is peanut, it's not there. Baking spice is there. Bold caramel
absolutely
is there. A creme brulee that's really been flamed up, it's there.
So when you get that bold caramel flavor and like we talk about like the burnt
so that's
part
where that deep vanilla is going to come in.
That's where I think you're getting the char. It's the brown sugar. It's the burnt caramel. That's where your aging and your full proof is coming in. That's where your 125. We didn't water it down. You're tasting it how it came out of the barrel.
All of this is coming from the wood. The distillate moving in and out of oak. Mm-hmm. Moving in and out of oak. It's expanding,
contracting based on the weather, based on the temperature, moisture levels.
So, interesting enough, the difference between these two, and this is what's bizarre, it's either, one, is that this one has been watered down. Mm-hmm. So, if we know that this distillate is coming out at 125.
Yeah.
And this is 100. We know that it's leaving the barrel at roughly 125. Mm-hmm. We know that they water down their bottle and bond to get it to 100. You can, I don't know if the camera's picking it up there, but there's
definitely more of a darkness.
It's a little darker.
Yeah.
So what that's telling you is that maybe this sits in the barrel longer to give it some more oak.
Yep.
this certainly gives you... Now, you want to talk about complex.
Exactly. This has a complexity, and I think that we're learning that coming out, that not watering it down gives you what the barrel's giving it. Age plus...
Experience.
Yeah.
It's experience in the barrel. The reality is, though, on our journey, and when we started, if you go back and watch the worst episode we ever recorded.
Oh, God, which one are you going to say?
Which is the opening of where we're sitting at the table and we're... It's horrible. Oh, yeah, the
it's
introduction.
So bad.
It is so... We're going to have to redo that. It is,
so
it is
bad.
god-awful. So what this comes down to is that you cannot, unless you've had to go to meetings, you cannot start your bourbon journey at foolproof.
No, you can't, because you won't appreciate it.
It
It's
just
hot.
burns.
It just burns you up.
It just
burns you up.
Can you imagine if the first night I poured some Elijah Craig for you, which I think sits around 90 to 95.
Yeah.
If I had poured if I had poured you Garrison Brothers Cowboy,
I wouldn't have liked bourbon.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your esophagus would have just fried. All right. So
what do we go?
What
do we rank this one be?
That's tough.
I like this one the best of the three.
Okay, then it's Hush Your Mouth.
It's Hush Your Mouth. It's a low Hush Your Mouth, but it's Hush Your Mouth.
It is. It is a low Hush Your Mouth. I would not put this...
This isn't Colonel Taylor. But it's good.
You can go buy it for $25.
And it's quality.
You can... Look, for less
complex.
than $75, you can buy 3 bourbons, and you can do you can do an interesting tasting with your friends.
Absolutely, 100%.
And
you can have a fun evening.
Yeah, and you'll probably have some left over, especially if you hit this too hard. So
that's true.
I go back to this, and it's beating a dead horse. I love that song by Guns N' Roses. That's the challenge, and that's why people are expecting there to be kind of a bourbon bust. There's so much good quality sitting on the shelves for a reasonable price that people are starting to understand, look, Buffalo Trace is fantastic. It does not take away that this isn't good.
No.
But if you're living in a state where you are trying to drive around from store to store to store,
go buy this.
Look, just buy this, buy any of the other 3. And if you've never had Buffalo Trace, find the bourbon bar in town.
Go have
that's
some.
Selling it for $10.
And then go buy this at the ABC store.
Yeah, because I'm not saying it's not, because it is. I'm not saying don't drink Eagle Rare. I'm
Absolutely.
not saying don't drink, oh my God, I'm definitely not saying don't drink Stag.
No, but there are always people, that are going to turn their nose up at this just because of the availability and the price. And what we're saying is we, again, our original mission, taking the pretentiousness out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, if you can find something that's $25 and is delicious, go grab it. Sometimes you might not have $100 to spend on a bottle of bourbon, and that's fine. This is a good alternative, and that's our job, is to find the good alternatives.
Yeah, and if you got an issue, pour it in a bottle. Pour it in some other bottle.
Absolutely.
So, you haven't really proved your point.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
The thunder from down under, my
Has
favorite
weighed in.
koala. What do you mean, Katie?
Well, you were trying to determine if the benchmarks were a good substitute for Buffalo Trace.
Oh. Well, that's what we did, Katie.
No, you drank 3 benchmark products and you talked about them. You didn't actually compare it to Buffalo Trace. To do that, you'd have to taste the Buffalo Trace against the benchmarks.
You want us to drink more bourbon today? That sounds fantastic.
No, I'm challenging you to an episode where I pour 2 benchmark products and you
boy.
compare them to 1 Buffalo Trace. Then you taste and rank them. Blind.
So what you want is another chance for us to make fools of ourselves on camera.
That's right. Aussie Rules is back, my friend.
Oh, God.
Well, folks,
Oh,
the good news is we don't have to write another episode.
All right, B. Let's cheers this thing.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
I touch my inner Patrick Swayze.
Is that it?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You got this.
Give me a drink.